Alright, so this is the lab of fractional and simple distillation. We're first going to do the simple distillation. So the assembly is just take your long neck, round bottom flask, and first use your connector with the rod. And then we'll be putting on the distillation head, like that. And then finally we'll be putting on the thermometer and snapping it on. Okay? So that's what the final assembly is going to look like. So let's go ahead and get our chemicals inside the flask. So we're going to need 1 boiling stone, I think I have 2, which is fine. Let's put that in there, and then we're going to want to have 1 ml of ethanol, and so maybe the best way to measure out this ml is you have graduated test tubes that have a 1 ml marking, so that's going to be accurate enough for our purposes. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's approximately 1 ml. So we're now going to use our glass pipette to transfer this. Into the round bottom flask. And finally, we're going to add the water, which I got into a little Erlenmeyer. And use the reverse osmosis water, not the tap water. And we're going to want 3 ml of the water. Do the same thing, transfer that water into the round bottom flask. We're just going to swirl that up and reassemble the distillation apparatus. Now, one trick that I didn't show you is that when you're putting the connector onto the thermometer, sometimes it's difficult to get on, and so what we do is just get some water and wet the thermometer. That makes it slide more easily. And now, so the height, once you get this together, just be gentle so you don't snap the glassware. But you want to adjust the thermometer so that the bottom of the thermometer, where it collects the temperature for the reading, is just below the arm of the distillation head. Okay? And so once you have it like that, you're all done with the assembly. And so now we're going to slide this into the connector on the ring stand. And we're going to drop this down. I already have the sand bath on, and I have the power on around 70. So I'm going to move it down so it's just touching the sand or hovering just a little bit above it. And I'm going to use my conical vial to collect the drops. So I have a second ring stand here to hold the vial. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust. It's not, the mixture is not boiling yet, so I'm going to adjust this temperature by pushing sand up around the bottom of the flask. And now like it's starting to boil here. We're watching our thermometer. There's no change in the thermometer yet because, of course, we're measuring the temperature way up at the top of the flask. Alright, so you can see that it's starting to boil. And now we're rigorously boiling so we can move some of our sand away. So it takes it a little while to get the glass nice and hot. And so now you can see that it's starting to reach the bottom of the thermometer. And we want it boiling at a rate so that this little drop that's right there just remains hanging and not, if it's boiling too fast, what you'll see is this drop will be constantly dropping. So we want to get it, and again, we're just adjusting the rate of boiling by moving the sand. So it looks like it's at a pretty good boiling rate, and now we're seeing our first drop come over, and so here it comes, and that would count. Can wait till it actually drops. Sometimes a good trick for getting this to come on across is to take a damp paper towel and wrap it around this distillation arm. Okay, so there's our first drop, and we would read the temperature, and we're at about 76 degrees. And so now it's dropping, should be dropping pretty steadily. And you would continue to count the drops and make note of the temperature that it's at. Okay. And so you're going to have a temperature range somewhere between 75, let's say, and 95. And so remember that we have a mixture of ethanol and water in there, and ethanol has a lower boiling point than water. So right now, mostly what's coming over is your ethanol. So this is why this is a purification technique. The percentage of ethanol in our vial is higher than the percent of ethanol in the mixture. Okay, so that looks good. So that's the way you do this experiment. So let's stop this and let's start the fractional distillation. So in the lab,